Hello everyone, John P.O. here with MAMECADE episode number 31. I'd like to showcase an unreleased 1989 Atari prototype called Guts and Glory. There are 5 stages that you can select from in this military game. There's the anti-aircraft, there's bombings, depth charges, machine gunning, and the good old submarine stage. Besides being a rare and unusual game, it was co-created by Logg, the creative genius behind some of Atari's biggest successes. He was responsible for Asteroids, Centipede, Millipede, and Gauntlets 1 and 2. So let's take a look at Guts and Glory.
Good luck, soldier.
The game starts off with different levels that you can pick from, and every single level has 2 modes of attack. This one has smart missiles and anti-aircraft shot. And the difference between those is the smart missiles are like a heat-seeking missile, and the anti-aircraft was just a straight-up running shot. Now, the enemies here are running in patterns, and after a while you can try to figure out what the best position is to get the most out of it. Like, for instance, this part right here, which kind of reminds me of Gyrus in the bonus stage when you have to get in the right spot. On the top, you'll notice there's a timer, and there's a quota. The trick is to meet the quota of the enemies killed before the timer runs out. If you fail to do that, you lose a life. And of course, you can also lose a life by a plane dropping a bomb on you, and that happens more and more as the level progresses. Your smart missile count is limited, so you have to use them sparingly for the big planes, and you can replenish them, I believe, by hitting the Zeppelins, and that'll give you a couple more. Okay, so now it's getting very close to the wire. I'm not hitting as many as I'd like. And you have to be careful. When you kill certain enemies, it releases bombs. Okay, didn't do it. Let's try the next one. Submarine. Same scenario. You've got 2 kinds of attacks in this one. Anti-aircraft gun and torpedo. And again, this looks very familiar. You have to launch your torpedoes and try to adjust for the passing ships so that it'll strike when it goes there. Many games have done this in the past. And anti-aircraft, when the ships are above and the planes are coming in, you want to use the anti-aircraft to knock them out. You can dodge the enemy plane and try to avoid getting killed. But of course, that's always meaning that you're on the move, and as such, you may be missing your quota. Again, you have to make the quota against the time, and you'll notice on the right side there is another gun turret. That would be for a player 2 game. Being that this is just me playing, it's just myself, the other one's not moving. A nice feature that they added is it also shows you a tally of what you've already sunk in the middle of the screen there. That's kind of cool. And your torpedoes are also limited. You have to try to use them sparingly, or you have to wait until they replenish. So you have to make every shot count if you want to make your quota. And again, I'm getting very close. The timer is now red. I've got 13. Not very good. Alright. Yes, failure. Depth charges. Again, another one that we've seen. Looks very familiar. This kind of reminds me of Missile Command in a way, where you have to position your X to where the depth charge will explode. It's like a side-scrolling Missile Command. Again, you've got 2 weapons. You've got the depth charges, and you've got a seeking torpedo. If you hit the large ships that pass in the deep section, you'll replenish. I should probably be using more of my seeking depth charges here. What they try to do is take military games that are very familiar to people and combine them into one system and make them as nice as they can. Again, this was a prototype. It was never really released. But just look at the effect they did for the water. It's a weird shimmering pool-like colors there. On the bottom, you can see on the mountainous ground, it has that shimmer that you would see in a swimming pool. I don't know how effective that is in recreating an ocean, but you get the gist that you're underwater looking at underwater scenes. And no wonder I failed once again. Now the bombing run is a lot of fun as well. Same thing, once again, 2 attacks. And you'll notice right off the bat, you'll think 1942. The water certainly looks like 1942. But it's more like Xevious than 1942, and you'll see immediately why. Because you have to drop your bombs using this targeting X in front of you while trying to avoid oncoming planes and strafing attacks. So you can sustain a few hits, and they've given you some nice graphics where your wings will be flaming. I believe it's 3 hits and you go down. It's actually pretty hard, and all these boards have been pretty difficult for me. But this one particularly is hard because you can go to the right and to the left, and it just keeps on going. It isn't very recognizable because it's so vast. I guess you can just try to go straight and not try to move left and right, or at least minimally. But I move too far to the right and to the left, and to me it's always winging it. Winging it. And I'm doing terrible on this one, and you can see my timer is almost out. My quota is nowhere near complete, and I'm gonna fail this mission too. Did you think I wouldn't? And the final one, the machine gun, very brutal. Grenades and machine gun. You've got your guns, and there's a player 2 gun sitting there, which will not be used. And you just have to mow these attackers down as they're approaching. And you can lob your grenades if you have to. Grenades are limited. It's very cool how they come over the wall, and they'll give you a gruesome kill if you don't get them first. Like that. Ooh. Let's try that again. Boy, do I stink. I find this so difficult. I really, really do. I find this so hard to do. It's fun, but I really stink at it. I should be just throwing grenades left and right like crazy. What have I got to lose? I've got 80 guys to kill and about a quarter of my timer left. You think I'm going to make it? I don't. Well, at least while you're getting stabbed, the timer stops. Oh, rats. Man. Oh, they're just swarming now. At least they're not shooting, right? They're just charging. Oh, I think I tried to shoot. Spoke too soon. Yeah, right. Now, there is a uncompleted coming soon ground assault segment. One can only wonder what they had in store for that one. Maybe like an Ikari kind of clone where you're running through the jungle or the combat zone shooting and throwing grenades. We never got to see it. In fact, we never got to see any of this because it was never put out in the mass public because it was a prototype. Fortunately enough, we can play this on the emulators. So thank you very much for those who put the ROM out. Otherwise, we'd never see this game. And thanks a lot to Logg, who put together so many wonderful games for Atari. This has been Guts and Glory.